Hello, everybody. This is Living with the Darkness, the Rage Across in New York. Today we have a scene in the Werewolf venue. In the Umbra, there are two hovels came in from the um, two different individuals. Basically, one Cleve and one Foster and a cub is waiting. And the Foster kind of, we will actually zoom our scene first towards the cub and the Foster. And the Foster will look at the cub and she will say, "There's another howl, Snowflake. Let's go near so the Guardians will have easy time."
Yes, Raya.
She nods, and then she will try to look for the individual that howled her name, the Bailey trash can, the Bornar Ragabash. So, would you like to explain your character and how does she looks from outside to the Metis Cub and the SD, and then the Metis Cub will probably explain his character.
Okay. Bailey is a rather scrappy looking individual, very um like somebody who did not eat a lot growing up. but but at the same time somehow manages to be healthy. She's dressed sort of ridiculous for somebody like she doesn't have expensive clothes, so she wears her own sort of fashion, as it were, kind of grody um, punk look to her. And as she sees the Arun arriving, uh, she'll show. Do we do the showing and flopping out here, or do we wait until the Umbra? But uh,
We are already in the Umbra.
okay, good. Then she'll show her throat and lay down to expose her belly in respect to the oncomer. So,
It's fine. We can get up. We're all new. This is Snowflake, Metis Cub. As she looks at the snowflake,
Snowflake basically puts his hand down the hem of his shirt and just shows throat to Bailey.
it's cool. It's cool. He says, and just kind of like just like the hand waved, like, please stop. um, yeah.
the what you see in this woman is that she has a bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Be uh kind of fucking weird for this time of age, but she looks proudly. There is this like weird black fury smell on her. Um, your character would know the certain tribe smells in different ways if they look like their ancestors and
Mm-hmm.
smell like their ancestors, and you get that weird smell from Snowflake and her. Um, they smell like black furies, just like they said that they were. Actually, just like she said she was, and the Cubs doesn't have tribes. Uh, George, would you like to explain your character and how he looks?
Yeah. Uh Snowflake's a pretty average guy, like maybe 5'7", 5'8". Uh he's not like bulky, but he's lean, as in he looks like a guy that sometimes works out. As far as dressing goes, he like has a pair of sneakers, a pair of jeans, uh, maybe like a hoodie on or something like that. The obvious thing you'd notice is that his skin is very white. His hair is also white, and his eyes are a pinkish reddish hue somewhere along those lines. Not unlike the picture.
Bailey
The-
will give him like the look over, but she's not going to say anything about his appearance. So.
the we will move our scene towards 10 Point.
She is quite the 10-point.
10 Point, we get a look from the Sings in the Alley, and she kind of like slowly comes near 10 Point and says, "Yeah, are we going?"
And yeah, 10-point will be probably in the midst of putting a couple things away into her swag, nodding as she's approached. It's always a good idea, just in case one of the guardians isn't free.
You always work hard. I knew you were gonna go. She smiles.
It's a faint smile in return. And yeah, she'll nod agreeably enough and gesture a, after you, kind of, in an attempt to be teasingly polite.
She smiles, puts a hand to her heart. Thank you, and she will slowly go. But she will actually like make the point of she will wait for 10 Point. Like they will go together, like
Oh yeah,
equals, motherfucker.
yeah. She'll make the gesture teasingly and let her take the first step or two, but we'll actually walk like shoulder to shoulder, like at at her level. She seems reasonably comfortable, and for all that I don't think this picture has it, she will be, of course, sending off small chimes and jingles every so often as they go, as she does, in fact, still wear at the bells.
Then, at the distance, the Bailey and the Snowflake and the the NPC, will see a. Would you like to explain the character, Katie?
Oh, sure. She has changed a bit since the choice of this picture and outfit. 10 Point is not especially tall, not especially foreboding. She's if anything, a bit on the slighter side, though a bit tall for a woman. But more markedly than anything else is the fact that she has a lot of hair, so much hair. But perhaps a little more distracting than the hair is that she has a full adult rack of antlers, to all appearances, growing right out of her skull. A number of little bells, just little clusters of them, have been tied around them and give off a soft jingle and chime as she moves. The clothes have thankfully improved somewhat. She's not wearing layers of secondhand clothing cobbled together to make like boho style outfits. She's actually wearing a decent sort of sundress. It's actually getting warmer, slowly but surely. So she's striding along in a fairly simple sort of dress, decidedly barefoot, and carrying nothing with her besides a kind of almost patchworky looking bag, a satchel that hangs across across her chest and back, and perhaps still has her beads in hand. Just a string of wooden beads that flick through her fingers periodically as she goes. Oh, and she does, because I've totally forgotten, she has a number of scars, but the only ones that will be visible, at least upon first glance, will be a kind of welt that spans across her face, like across the cheeks, over the nose, and a smaller and finer little cut line down the front of her lips off to one side. The rest are obscured.
The near 10 Point, there's this lady who has her face scarred. She's silent, and she will wait for 10 Point to introduce herself first.
Oop. Yes, 10 Point will make the point of stepping forward. She's kind of got the big brown eyes and whatnot going on, but all the same, Seeing as she didn't catch a rank yet, she will give her head a bob rather than lifting it faintly. And will address all three. I am 10 Point, deeded, Thousand Cuts, Metasporn Theurge of the Fianna, Keeper of the Land, of the Sept of the Green, and Omega to the Seekers of Lost Knowledge. Fostering to the nation.
Bailey will bare her throat and the belly thing again to show respect to 10 Point.
And 10 Point will at least wait for her fellow to introduce herself before hastily gesturing her up, because while she doesn't especially stand on ceremony with that so long as the cursory gesture is made, she won't assume for the sake of the Galliard she's with.
The Galliard will tell that she is sings in the alley, Fostern, Bonar, Hamid, and she is there to aid Keeper of the Land. She stands silent. She knows 10 Point is quite competent in what she is doing.
Yes, in that case, she'll be given enough time to get down and make the gesture, but once she's gotten there and made a point of being polite, the Bonar will find herself given a slight, a little upward tick of the fingers, like, go ahead and get up, like, you don't need to stay there. It's not a rude, like, imperious little flick of the hand. It's just kind of the, like, bro, you can get up.
All right. She'll stand up and, like, dust herself off a little bit. Bailey, Thrushcan, Dean, Bonar, Cleoth, Ragabash.
Snowflake looks at the Black Fury who brought him in, basically waiting for permission to speak and introduce himself.
The Black Fury will say, like, she will step forward, look at 10 Point, nod her head, and she will say, I am the Apollo's aim, Hamid Fasten Haroon of the Black Furies. And then her hand will actually turn towards the individual who's near her, which is the Snowflake. And she will let Snowflake to introduce himself.
Snowflake looks at the two Garu in front of him and says, I'm Snowflake, Metisborn Ragabash, Cub. And as he finishes the sentence, he flops. Because, he's in front of two Fosterns and he's a freaking cub.
And much as before, 10 Point will give him a chance to get down and to make the gesture of, of submission to a higher station. But once it has been done, she doesn't keep him there. She goes ahead and gestures him up. And will bob her head to the Fostern accompanying the cub. I hope your journey was not too trying. Would you mind? I should cleanse you.
I would be honored.
And she will actually potentially kind of gesture Thrashcan a bit closer, like corral her a little bit closer to the other two so that she can go ahead and do the lot in one passing.
Yeah, she'll move in closer. She's not going to be difficult about it.
Would you like me to roll, sir?
Just explain.
What 10 Point will do is once the three of them are standing fairly close together, or at least, within proximity that she doesn't have to walk a huge amount to get around them, we'll begin pulling out various odds and ends from the bag at her side. She'll produce... will actually potentially produce several twigs flicking between them before picking one in particular as if it is somehow preferable. Producing a pack of matches, producing of all the things, it probably looks pretty silly, but a Tupperware container of water, because Tupperware is just the hottest shit ever. and she loves it. But we'll produce a number of things, and we'll actually, yeah, we'll set the stick to smoldering with the matches. She's probably doctored it with something or another, considering the way it lights fairly easily, even though it looks kind of green. And smolders a lot like a stick of incense would. And she will begin a process of walking a circle 3 times around the group that's gathered, making a point of wafting the smoke in towards them, with the other hand flicking water from the container, as if somehow ritually with the 2 elements, cleansing them of whatever might be clinging to them in their time passing through the city. And once she has made the circle 3 times, uttering some prayers, some bids to the spirits, the last time around, we'll say the first time around with the smoke, second time around with the water, and the third time simply just cycling those beads through her fingers. And then we'll finally finish with an odd echoing little, not quite howl, but an odd eerie sort of noise. To frighten away the bad juju.
They smell much better now because of the rite of cleansing, as they're clean again. Um, the rite of cleansing is the rite that sends away the worm taint. So because of the journey that the snowflake and the Bailey had from the city, they will feel much more relieved and yes, it is also known as the rite of much needed shower. Mostly bonars. Uh, but the as the Fostern, who is the highest rank among the newcomers, the uh, Apollo's aim will immediately say thank you. Thank you, Wise Steward.
You're quite welcome, Yev. And she will quickly go about putting everything back in her bag, snuffing the twig and replacing it. And gives a glance aside and a tap to the side of her head as she says so. The Wormfoe has been made aware of your presence, though he is currently on sept. Remind me, God damn it, what's her name? Sings
Sings in the alley.
That's it, Sings in the Alley. Is she actually a guardian?
She isn't, but she helps us. She is very active, just like 10 Point.
Yeah.
She's among the active Bonars. I didn't set up NPC guardians, but actually, I should actually set NPC guardians. Yeah, she is on her way to be.
She's practically a guardian. She's close
Yeah.
enough.
She's close
that's
enough.
fine. And the warder should have been made aware by your howl. May I ask, what brings all of you to the Sept of the Green?
I will allow the family answer first, as she shows Bailey, who's a Bonar.
Bailey will sort of step forward a bit to talk. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm a healthy body and willing to do what needs to be done. I'm not too proud to do the dirty work. And that's what I'm here for. To do what needs to be done and do it as well as I can.
Well spoken, Unray.
Thank you, Raya.
Foster will look at the cub.
Came in to learn and better myself. think there's nothing more to say.
Another light bob of the head. And a glance to the Faustian that accompanies him. Will you be staying with us, or are you merely here to ferry him to the Sept?
Faustin will smile. She is very friendly, especially as in a rune. She has this like weird smile, and she will say, "I come here to honor my ancestors. I will try to give it a good fight as best as I can with the education of my tribe. I come here to find out more about the America. I will stay, and I will try my best to aid you as best as I can, and accept."
Well and good. I haven't seen but so many of the Furies, but so active. I can think of at least one other cub who may well like to hear from you and to learn from you.
She nods. "I will be honored. I will do my best."
Then, if you do not mind, as there is not a guardian available, I will take you to the Cairn Heart. I will ensure all of you are made aware of the totem and her bane and her boons. And then perhaps to the Den Parents.
She nods. It looks
Okay.
around like if the Bailey is coming as well.
Yes, she'll follow along.
Yep, there will be a bit of a beckoning hand gesture, and 10 Point will turn to lead them into the Sept and onto the Bond. And she will point out as they go that there is a small area of the Sept as they approach the Cairn Heart. We'll point out where the essentially invisible line is of where this portion of Sept is veil protected, explaining that it means that there is an effect, perhaps, of a rite that she is not intimately familiar with, but it means that the humans that walk through this place every day, that tour the different sites, simply do not take interest in entering past this line of trees, past this line of brush, and don't take notice to what happens on the other side of it, making sure that they're aware that there is this small area that is safe in whatever form, albeit one must still police such things as howls, etc., so that the humans are not made uncomfortable, are not made aware. She will also gesture off in two different directions, indicating that there is a training ground and a forge both, but only on this side of the gauntlet, as they would call too much attention in the Tellurian. And oh boy,
Both Bailey and the Snowflake will see a dog who has like clothing, and he has a beer in his hand, a beer bottle, and he's like raising the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really weird spirit. Like, there are normal spirits, right? You guys seen spirits in the past, like, but you guys never seen spirits like this before. There's like one other guy who's like this. It's like they're just like looking around. There's this place. It's called like probably 10 Point will say like it's the Fianna Castle. While they're like showing around the position, the sub like the known places in Sept, and there's like a bunch of people like in the Umbra, a bunch of these guys standing in the Umbra, and about the other side there are the cat ones. Um, you guys will see like this guy has like bunch of cats near him. They're like playing with their like small swords. They're just being another day at the Sept. This is like the first time you two seen this stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
As like everybody is acting like it's so normal, like this shit is just so normal here. Um,
Yep.
and the Cairn Heart is there are a bunch of Bonars. They are like nodding some of the people like looking at Bailey or the newcomers. Um, in most septs, there are um, individuals who would look at people and outsiders are not usually mostly welcomed. It is a known thing, but this is a Bonar sept. The looks aren't so extremely weird. As much as there are like a bit uh, individuals who looks weird, there are individuals who looks very welcoming.
Mhm.
Uh, and the Umbra is very warm, but it is obvious that when you look at a city, you can see the Weaver's big presence in the city.
Mm.
Yep. When you look out on the skyline, you've got like that magnificent New York skyline, but you've also got the craziest, like, some of it looks almost kind of fractured into like fractal designs, and a large portion of it is netted up with what look like, cobwebs. Some look fresher and newer and cleaner, like almost cable-like webbing, but there's also a lot of cobwebby kind of designs crusted onto the buildings.
The the Foston will actually ask a question to Tenpoint and say, "How do you defend this sept? The Weaver doesn't the Weaver attack to the sept all the time?"
There is a significant worm presence in the city that keeps the Weaver's attention split. And in the end, we have held the line and reinforced it many a time at the Bond's edge. And there is a good Glasswalker presence in the city. They acknowledge that we are there, but so long as we do not violate the laws as they understand them, they don't generally take up hostile behavior.
She nods.
So even in the Umbra, even without the cars, mind the streetlights, mind the crosswalks, and you should not have issue. And generally, if you're going into a place they don't want you, well, they make it very clear. They don't lead with aggression. There's an order to it.
She takes a deep breath and nods. Doesn't say anything.
There's a brief kind of the overall confident and kind of collected look softens a bit into one of sympathy because, well, this is a fury and this is clearly a quite a place to be.
Yeah, protectors of the wild does not enjoy being here, probably. But
So there's a sympathetic glance cast her way. There are still bastions of wild in the city. We do what we can.
she nods. And like she looks at Bailey and the cub and says, like, "Don't you guys have more questions? Any questions?" She says she will answer all of them. Come on. Actually, she says Raya said. Actually, she doesn't say Raya. Your Raya said she will answer all of them. Go on.
Is there any place where you need more help?
Certainly. We are bereft of many guardians. I am completely bereft of keepers. There are many places where we could use a willing pair of hands. There is also, the Wormfoe has taken a ranger initiative that is more present within the city as opposed to at the edges of the Bond, that involves being vigilant out and in the Protectorate. Could perhaps use more volunteers if you were to express interest. I'm sure he would be willing to give you a chance to try for it. Especially as a Bonar, especially as a Ragabash. You could be very capable out in the streets, where it's harder to keep an eye.
She nods. Great. I'll see if I can lend him a hand then.
She nods agreement, and as they're talking, we'll be leading them into the Cairn Heart itself, which is, in particular, a Cairn Heart is a massive upwelling of Gaia's energy and power. It's generally what septs are built around and built to protect, are these cairns. So this is a point where, regardless of what your gnosis is like, you're going to feel a much deeper connection to Gaia, to the land, to the earth. And it is it really is a tangible thing to a Gru.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite like, it's not just a vague religious feeling. It's a very deep connection that's inherent. So as they walk in, they will feel more and more of this, almost to the point of like feeling the earth's pulse almost. And she'll walk in, and there will be many shrines here, a number of shrines to tribal totems. But particularly of interest probably to Bailey is the fact that set kind of front and center to all of these shrines is one to Great White Mouse, which is, in essence, I assume she would know, an aspect of rat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the big centerpiece to all of these various shrines. It has many, many offerings left around it, probably a number of little rat spirits and pigeon spirits scurrying around, plundering through the offerings of various junk food and whatnot that have been left behind. You know, sniffing around the candles, playing with the incense, who knows? But these spirits are definitely there in force. And she will pause in front of it, gesturing up to the likeness of this actually very pleasantly depicted Great White Mouse, as opposed to a more severe looking image of a rat. Great White Mouse is the totem that patronizes our sept and protects us. She is mother to all who reside here. She will guide your teeth to strike more harshly. She will aid you in slipping unseen. But in return, while you reside here, you will never lay a hand on her material children. No chasing squirrels, no catching mice or rats. Rodents are to be respected, treated well.
Bailey will nod reverently in the presence of this totem.
Yeah, Snowflake will do the same. And he just like slowly raises his hand.
Get a glance?
Not trying to intrude here, Raya, but I have a bit of a functional question. And he lowers his voice a little. Where do we sleep?
As a cub, you will be taken in by the den parents. They keep a den dug on this side of the gauntlet where you will sleep.
Uh-huh.
For so long as you are a cub, you will remain on the sept grounds.
You guys see the totem is protected by these guys.
Oh, God.
They're pretty harsh looking. but
Squirrel
they're-
mafiosos.
Yeah, exactly.
Most hardcore little rat gang you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, they will like full auto shoot you in 2 seconds if you like look at that totem sideways.
She will actually make a point of producing small offerings, handing them off first to the Fostern if she does not have one of her own to bring to the sept totem, and then to Bailey, and then to the cub. And we'll gesture them towards the shrine so that they can essentially can present themselves to the totem.
Mm-hmm. Bailey will step forward and respectfully leave the offering to the shrine.
And I will say, for the sake of filler, that of all the things, what will be handed are a couple of very small, delicate-looking bones.
Mm-hmm. How appropriate.
If you want to try to make rolls to identify what they're from, you're welcome to. But essentially, what she gives you are a couple very small bones, probably from some sort of small animal.
The word probably is.
Hey, maybe they're small bones from a larger animal. You didn't roll. You don't know. Fucking Z-snap.
Oh Lord.
After allowing the Bonar, the Fostern, who's the most hype Fostern that individual's ever seen, she kind of drops stuff as well on knee and then get back and like look at the cub and like with her eyes, she's like, her eyes are moving, basically saying like go go, but without saying go go.
Snowflake just does what he's told. Like a good little cub.
It is at that time when everything is going well. There's this welcoming presence in the set. The voices around you that are talking, like people are talking among each other, right? They kind of gets like lowered down as an individual starts arriving.
And for what it's worth, 10 Point gives them a point of reference by going ahead and very politely backing out of the way so that she's not between the den father and the cub, and takes a knee in Bear's throat.
The Baitstavi will look and like put his paw in 10 Point's neck, but not with claws, but like you can feel those claws as well. You know, the paws has the I forget to say. Yeah, like you feel, but like he doesn't do it to just like make you. It's just like the claws are there.
Mm-hmm.
And then his eyes will turn towards the like when that happens, he will say, "I am Bites the Weak, Lupus, Shadow Lord, Adrian Tierge, then father of the City of the Green." And then the Foston will also show throat, and he will look at Bailey first.
Bailey will once again drop down to show her stomach and bare her throat to the den father.
Den father kind of comes in. There's this like weird predatorness in this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of keeps his paw on your neck for like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
10 very creepy seconds. And then he will pull it back and then he will look at the cub.
Snowflake just flops, and from this very uncomfortable, very weird looking position, and in Hamid, he just says, Snowflake met his born cub Ragabash.
You hear like he's chewing something, which his mouth smells really badly. And when you flop, he comes and you can smell all those things that he eats, probably in the morning. And his like neck stands on your, his paw stands on your neck for 20 seconds as he pulls back, looks at the cub and says, "What do you know?"
I'm good at sneaking around. Raya.
They taught you how to flop, show respect. But they taught you the litany.
Question to the storyteller. Have they taught
Up
me the
to
litany?
you. Up to you. I like you were in the sept for a while, so like it's up to you. They might teach you the way they know the litany, like it was a Bonar sept. So like you did learn probably litany, but in a Bonar way. It can be a choice if you want to, of course. I'm not gonna say like, yeah, that's the way it goes. It's up
Okay,
to you, man.
I don't know what's the Bonar version of the litany.
It's much more relaxed. Uh, it's way more relaxed than Shadow Lords, Silver Fangs, or Fianna.
Okay. So yeah, he says, "Yes, Ra, I've been taught some of the laws of the Garu.
You know, auspices and breeds.
I know their names, but not much else.
You know your purpose as Guy and Garu.
Yes,
Do you know the history?
no, Ra.
There's three cubs. One name's Garm. He's from Getafera stock. You two will probably start fighting tomorrow. There's Robin from the Silverfang stock. There's Fatima. She will probably have her rite of passage soon. Thanks to her. As actually he shows the 10 point.
Guys, glance and a blink.
I mean, you're the one who taught Helena, not Helena, sorry, Fatima, a lot of
15.
things. So
Yep.
he says thanks to her.
Oh. She will give a humble bow of the head.
You can't leave the sept as a cub. You will live with me and sleep with me in the den. Do you know the forms?
Yes, Ra.
Tomorrow in the morning, your education will start.
Understand, Ra.
In the morning, your damn mother will wake you up, teach you how to fight. Then I will take you to hunt in the northern forest.
Yes, Ra.
Do you know the ban of the rat or the great white mouse?
That we should not hunt or kill any of its. And he kind of tries to look at 10 point somehow while not moving at all. It's earthly children. And he's looking at 10 point with that face that says, please, please, please tell me I got it right.
He's like, you know, like you try to look, and the paw and the neck kind of comes, like turns your face towards Bikes the Week,
Hmm.
and he says, "Yes," which is again, it's really fucked up and creepy feeling. I don't know how he is like you see, you didn't put a lot of how do I say this? You put a lot of details, but I don't know how he is raised when he was there,
Yeah,
or
fair
how
enough.
he sees the physical connection. For a lupus, it's a lot. For human, it is kind of different.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but he's not gonna like argue against the freaking Adrian.
Hmm. Oh, see, I fucking forget what the fuck we needed to teach the Cubs in the beginning. God damn it. It's been a long ass time.
The forms, the
Mhm.
auspices, the breeds, eventually the tribes, though I wouldn't necessarily tackle it all right meow.
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems to have the basics.
Tonight,
Unless
twice a week we'll say, tonight we will go over the litany and you will read the notes of the old den parent. Do you understand?
Yes, right.
Good. As he like pulls his hands and leaves without saying goodbye.
Snowflake's still on the ground.
There's this like face in the faucet of what an asshole, you know?
Once he leaves, we can get up, right?
Yeah, 10 Point will gesture you up once he's out of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Snowflake's gonna like stand up, brush himself off a bit.
Oh, see, I forget to tell you guys to get up, right? Did I? Did I?
Yep.
Oh, shit. I am really
It's
sorry.
okay. 10 Point waits until he is moved on, since he outranks even her, and then will begin to get herself up once he's gotten a respectful distance. And I imagine the other Fosterns know enough that they can get up, but she'll make sure that the Cleith and
Yeah.
Cub know to do the same by gesturing to them.
Go on, Bailey.
Oh no, I was gonna say I didn't want to be like, okay, Billy gets up and she's immediately mauled.
The lupus shadowfall.
Don't screw with the lupus, guys. Don't screw with the lupus.
As someone kind of comes near 10 Point and says, "Oh, newcomers!" and gives one beer to 10 Point.
Oh, yeah.
That wooden glass, not glass, sorry, cup,
Mug.
Tankard.
mug. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she'll take it. This guy is a hoot. She, in fact, is, especially as he comes around going, oh, ho, 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 she can't help but grin. And yeah, she takes it. She doesn't refuse hospitality.
And then he gives one to the Fostern. The Fostern kind of looks really weirdly. Then he immediately switches to Bailey and gives one to Bailey.
She smiles and says, "Thanks."
And in response, you hear like, and then
Spirit speech is a hell of a drug.
Exactly. and basically the 10 Point will hear, ho ho! And the guy will go near the Snowflake and give him a beer.
Snowflake takes the beer and just like nods in appreciation because apparently saying thank you doesn't work.
This is like you hear the 10 Point will hear like, this is the best thing in the kingdom of the grass. No, like that kingdom of the green grass, and then he will like start like running towards the Fianna Castle, but like this guy running is not a cute, like it's a really
The
cute
roundest,
sight.
dumpiest gallop.
Yes.
And yeah, 10 Point takes a swig out of it, and then we'll Cobley offer a translation to the rest. He gets very excited when we have newcomers to the Sept, especially those that mean to stay. For the sake of reference, there is a greater spirit that resides in the castle called King Bragos, who is the king of pets. There is also Queen Tibia, who is queen of the cats. For the most part, they and their subjects are quite amicable. But don't let them think for a moment, or don't let them make you think for a moment that they can't understand you. The cats certainly can.
Snowflake just looks at the tankard and just like pokes a finger in the liquid, pulls it out, looks at it awkwardly, and he looks at it and says, "Raya, is this safe to drink?"
Considering that 10 Point has made a point, in fact, of taking a healthy swig from it as it was handed her, it's probably not anything dangerous.
Yeah, but he pretty much caught on the fact that she's a theurge, he's not, so this might be some weird spirit shit.
Safe enough. Absolutely.
Okay, and he basically downs it. Because, yeah, it's been a hell of a ride and he's thirsty.
Yeah.
And he just like wipes his mouth with like his sleeve, like starting from the elbow, just like dragging it.
Bailey will take a big drink, but she's not going to be like quaffing the beer or anything like that. So she's not a quaffer.
Not a quaffer. Madness. A bonar that doesn't just shotgun that shit. Crazy.
The one of the Bonars, the who was like, they're not there, they're not there, will actually ask Bailey, like, when she comes back inside, sister, are you gonna stay in the Sept with us?
She just kind of like looks like she's thinking for a moment, trying to think of a way to say I wasn't planning on it without being disrespectful. I sort of have my own sleeping arrangements, but I mean, I can be here more than I'm not.
I just wanted to ask. We have the cardboard palace.
Oh. She nods. It's good to know that there's a safe place. I generally sleep close to work. Just, saves me time and making sure I don't get yelled at.
Be careful at the city.
Work, you say?
Of course. And she gives a nod to 10 Points. Work, you say, at work in the scrapyard in Manhattan.
There's a mild tilt of head because comically, 10 Point is very adept when it comes to certain things, especially revolving around the nation. But normal mundane jobs, completely outside of her wheelhouse. What does that entail?
Well, when vehicles or large appliances, refrigerators, washing machines, when they stop working, somebody picks them up, brings them to where I am, and I pull them apart so that the metal can be melted down into something useful. Or if the parts are salvageable, they go to something else. Big old hodgepodge of broken pieces to make something that works relatively well.
Her eyebrows pop up a little bit. And there's actually a bit of appreciation to the little nod that follows as she wraps her head around that. Interesting. Good line of work to be in, then. You should meet my Raya. The alpha of my pack is the Wormfoe of the Sept. And Jesus Christ help me. Let me look up the latest fucking deed name. Because these people went on a goddamn rampage in the rumors.
Oh no.
It's a very silly place.
I didn't guess that when I saw the six-legged dog man with the giant beard.
Oh, for the love of...
We can't also see the fucking gossip page, right?
Yeah, I'm opening it separately to see if I can see further back. There we go. Much gooder. Let's see. The last one for Shelby. Stinging silver tongue. There we go. Most lately deeded stinging silver tongue. More regularly known as Aiden Lynchkrause.
That Raggy is gonna get a beating from me, not the Vernfoyef, the one who's keep giving deed names.
I feel as though she does this with full acceptance that there will be repercussions. At least they are playful rather than tied to stories.
She nods.
There's kind of a helpless shrug of I'm not stepping on your toes. You do what you got to do. She feels like there's sooner or later like a back alley beating going to come down, but you know what? That is so far from being any of her business.
They're gonna tell her to come to the alley, and oh boy.
Hey, would you like to walk down this dark alley with me?
Sounds like a great idea.
Oh, goodness.
Guys, I gotta go,
Okay.
and I gotta, like sleep soon. So what I would say is, can I end the scene here, and then you guys, if you guys want to do a scene or between
follow-up
yourselves,
scenes?
yeah, follow up scenes or whatever you guys want to do. Is
Yep.
that cool with you all?
It is. I
Yep.
think my kid's gonna wake up soon, anyways.
Oh,
Feel
okay.
free to assume you are given a proper tour of the grounds, an idea of where the boundaries are, where the veil protected area is, and various points of interest on the sept.
Thank you so much.
I am
Tour
gonna,
guide Raya.
I'm gonna end this scene here. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, guys, for watching. See you next time.